We're at NAMM 2016 on the Sonic Farm booth with Mike Arnopol, who's going to show us a new collaboration that he's done with Sonic Farm. So Mike, what is it? A bass amp?
It is a bass amplifier, studio preamplifier, and direct box. And the power amplifier, there's a switch for the power amplifier and preamplifier, so that when you're in the studio, you don't have to worry about the fan from the power amplifier or something like that.
Can you tell us a bit about the how this came about then?
Yeah. In Bass Gear magazine, they reviewed I designed and built these loudspeakers, and they reviewed one of mine very favorably, and in the same issue was the Sonic Farm direct box, which is more intended for bass. And the editor, I was talking with the editor of Bass Gear, I said, I want to collaborate with somebody to do the absolute highest end bass amplifier, no holds barred. And he said, you should really talk to these guys. And they sent me the direct box, and I tried it. It had enough gain to drive an amplifier, and I had on hand the 1200 watt power amplifier that's being used in here. I hooked them up together, and everybody, myself and everybody that played through it, were like, this is the best sound we'd ever heard. And then I plugged my double bass through it, the best double bass sound I ever heard. And I talked to him, I said, would you guys like to work together and do a bass amplifier? And at first the circuit designer said, no, we don't do that. And then Boris talked him into it, and it's just worked out fabulously. And everybody that's played it has said it's the best bass amplifier they've ever played through.
Can you talk us through some of the features then?
Absolutely. Okay, one thing that I want in a bass amplifier that you don't see in any bass amplifiers typically, this has a shelving bass and treble control, but it has 3 fully parametric bands on it. And they overlap. Like most parametrics, you'll get the bass, which might go to 500, and then the mid from 500 up.
Sure.
But in bass, most of the surgery you want to do sonically is below that, so they all overlap, so you could use multiple bands to notch something, to boost something.
Great, okay.
And it has a switchable high-pass filter, which is really important, that guys are just finally starting to realize that electric basses have a lot of subsonic information going on that you don't want, and so your dynamic range of your amplifier and speakers is being totally sucked up by the subharmonics, and this gives you a choice of different frequencies, 30 hertz, 40 hertz, or 60 hertz. And when you even set it at 30 hertz, all of a sudden your bass becomes louder, punchier, more distinction, because we've gotten rid of all the stuff beneath that. It's got a studio, very much a studio quality compressor that the circuit designer, who also plays bass, obsessed over getting the parameters right so we could just do it in one knob. And I've had studio guys coming through that they're just like, the main comment is that the compressor is sick. So it also has this distortion circuit was the impetus for the distortion circuit in the Excalibur. And it is so unique because there's a crossover on it where you can choose whether your distortion comes in full range or maybe above 300 hertz or 500 hertz. So you still have the integrity of the low end and the punch of your bass, but the color of that. And now I know what they mean. The fat and the air controls on that are actually the low and high controls on here. But a very unusual feature here that I thought was going to hit the chopping block on first try, there are 2 harmonic synthesizers in here.
Right.
And they either bring up the 2nd or the 4th harmonic. And they're crossed over, so nothing under 500 hertz. So they're just approaching the fundamental pitches and adding either an octave or an octave and a fifth above there. Okay. And it changes the entire character of the bass. Like if you have I have a Fender Precision bass that I want to sound punchy like my Music Man bass, I can literally get it to sound virtually identical just by using the harmonic generators. And the cool thing is that anything that synthesizes on bass, tracking is terrible. You know, it's very difficult to get it to track the beginning of the notes, and you always hear the drop off. I can't hear it with this. I can't hear it pump in, and the tail of the note goes down, and I don't hear it drop off at all. So, I mean, I think it's pretty unique.
Cool. When's it going to be shipping then, and how much
September
will it cost?
1st.
September 1st.
$2,300.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks so much. Thanks for checking it out.
No worries.